Ted Jones messed with the wrong melon farmers.
Ted Jones, I also call him the eighth wonder of the real estate world.
Ted Jones, who knows, it could be...
Ted Jones?
The Ted Jones World Podcast.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to episode 22 of the Ted Jones World Podcast. I am your host, Ted Jones. Excuse me. I am joined, as always, by our executive producer over here to the 45-degree angle, Pat Charmel. Pat, how are you, man?
Do you say good morning, good night, and
good morning, good afternoon, good evening?
Is that for all our international listeners?
Yes, bro.
I want to hit.
Yes, I want to hit every time zone, bro. You look great, man. Always dressed in all black, and we appreciate it. So, Pat, last week we had a very exciting guest, and we learned a lot. I mean, when I speak for we, I think I speak for you and I. Remy Kazmir, comedian slash sex therapist slash podcast extraordinaire, came on the episode and she gave us some great tips. Remy has a podcast called How Come? It's a sexual wellness podcast. And she was just giving us a whole lot of information that I think a lot of us listeners and viewers here didn't really know a lot about. She gave us, some information about the female anatomy, and that was great. And we actually do have two questions from last week from our listeners and viewers. So the first question that was for Remy, that was actually from a girl. This was the first question was, when is the first time you orgasmed? Was it with someone or was it alone? So I asked Remy this question. She said February 22nd, 2018 with a womanizer toy. And yes, alone. And then the second question was, this was from a guy. She said, this question said, is there anything that guys should specifically do during sex? And she says, guys should ask girls what they like and check in every so often. This is the,
Didn't we go over this on our episode?
Yeah, I definitely, I definitely understand where Remy is coming from. I think it's just more like transparency and communication. And that's really how you get the sexual connection going, Pat.
The sexual connection going. You gotta talk. Speak up.
It was really great. We haven't had a serious episode like that in a while, but it was also funny, also informative. I went to her show this past Sunday called Bacon Bits at the Stand.
How was that?
And it was great, man.
You didn't eat any bacon.
It was really terrific. I didn't eat any bacon, no. But they did offer it, and then there was a handful of people who were eating bacon. I was like, you guys are still eating that? I was like, anything with a face, I'm not eating. Pat said earlier, it's like, all right, anything. I only eat things that had a mother before. We were referring to the Super Bowl, so Pat was talking about getting some chicken and just getting a big slab of beef. But I'm sure that he was joking.
Shout out vegans.
So Pat, actually just shopping for the Super Bowl rather. As you know, I'm not a big football advocate fan, but since all you guys are getting together, whatever, I'm going to show up. I've got nothing.
You're going to bless us with your presents?
Yes, dude, I got nothing better to do, so I'm coming to hang out with you guys.
Okay.
Went on Amazon and then got a lot of, veggie stuff on the Amazon Prime. And dude, this is crazy to the point where Amazon, I think.
Oh, seriously? You ordered all that stuff from Amazon?
What?
For the Super Bowl party?
Well, I ordered some frozen treats, some tater tots, some French fries. Whole Foods? No, see, dude, this is the thing.
Aren't those from Whole Foods?
But but that's Amazon Prime.
Yeah, 'cause they have that partnership.
So, dude, like Amazon is fully, if they already haven't taken over, I can see them taking over 98% of anything that has anything to do with retail or selling anything, bro. It's crazy the fact that like even now I'm seeing Amazon Go Fresh places opening up. Like, so these are just stores that have sandwiches, drinks, and basically, it's like replacing your Pret a Manger or whatever.
Like a bodega.
So, right, exactly. So like 24th and Park, but now these guys are like making bacon, egg, and cheese.
24th and
egg
Park?
Salad, egg sandwiches.
Really? I haven't seen that.
Yeah. It just opened next to the Equinox over there.
Oh, really?
But it's just a crazy phenomenon to the point where Amazon is literally just monopolizing every form of retail, dude. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy how they were like putting. Everyone was saying that like Amazon is going to put brick and mortar out of business, and then they started doing brick and mortar. So it's like,
what is the definition of like a brick and mortar?
Brick and mortar is just a physical store. It's a brick and mortar store.
So is it just like a mom and pop's kind of place where?
No, a brick and mortar is just a physical store. Like a Macy's is a brick and mortar store.
What does mortar mean?
Mortar is the stuff you see. Okay, turn around. See the brick on your wall?
Yeah,
see the stuff in between it? That's
I have
mortar.
brick in my NYC studio.
The stuff that keeps holds the brick together is mortar.
So I feel like that's just a very old phrase. Classic brick and mortar store.
But that's how
right,
you know,
that's
if you
how
go
retail
on,
started.
If you go on CNN Money, that
Yeah.
they refer to it as
flexing.
they refer to it as brick and mortar. But like, so they were like shutting down. Like, oh, they're killing Barnes and Noble,
right?
And then there's an Amazon bookstore in Midtown.
It's crazy.
So it's
like at the same time, they're closing down brick and mortar, but in doing that, they're also making their own brick and mortar.
Yeah, exactly.
They're like, okay, yeah, you guys can order all of our shit online, but
we'll
also if you want
have
to,
this.
if you want to come into the store, feel free.
Insane.
Like the Duane Reads are going out of business. There's a Duane Reade a couple blocks from my apartment that just fully went out of business. And who's going to take over this 15,000 square feet of space?
Well, I
don't understand.
I think stuff like that, like drugstores, are still people need that. Like,
well, that's because they're just charging an insane amount of money for like
for rent?
any prescription. You know what I mean? Like,
well,
they're
that's
not
a whole different conversation.
Right. No. But like Duane Reade and CVS, they aren't making money off selling Lay's and Cheetos. They're making all their money, I feel like, in the back in the pharmacy. Collecting all the money from prescriptions or whatever it is. But it's just wild to see that the only place that can really take over a Duane Reade after Duane Reade goes out of business is some store that just has no limit in terms of like where they like. It doesn't matter if they lose money on the store, theoretically, like a Starbucks or an Amazon or Walmart, which doesn't come into New York, or like a Target or just something with like. Yeah. A store with like enormous amount of revenue. It's just crazy that no mom and pop stores can open up anymore. The rent's just too damn high.
Yep.
So your boy Jeff Bezos, doing well on the business front. But did you hear about this nude photo leak scandal situation?
No. He's got some nudies out there.
So his girlfriend, Lauren Sanchez, I believe this is her name. Let me just double check her name as I reach over here. Lauren Sanchez. Yes, that is her name. So Jeff Bezos had nude pictures leak, dude. And apparently his girlfriend, Lauren Sanchez, of however X amount of months, sent the pictures to her brother, and then her brother leaked it to the National Enquirer.
Whatever.
That gossip magazine. Have you ever heard of it?
National Enquirer.
What do you mean, whatever?
Dude, I mean, at this point, you're not hitting if you don't have nudes out there,
But I don't understand why this is chill.
You're not a celebrity unless you have leaked nudes at this point.
But she's also Lauren Sanchez.
Bezos cheeks up on the internet.
Also, dude. But the thing is, the feds like track the phones, and now like the brother is still denying it. I don't know if she's denying it, but like very squidge that like this is like still going squidge, meaning like sketchy. And just odd. I'm like not understanding why Bezos hasn't dumped her yet.
Oh, he's still with her? This is not like an ex?
Dude. Like there are pictures of them holding hands. Like this is very squid.
I'm telling you, bro. It's not. You're not hitting unless you have nudes. So he's probably like, thank you for that.
Yeah, but what do you mean? Like you think it's chill that this lady just like for $100,000
Clearly he doesn't care.
It?
Clearly he doesn't care.
Well, she should have stuck around a little bit longer just to wait until she didn't have to leak nude photos of him. Well, I'm sure. I mean, she's still in the mix. So I guess
that's what I'm saying.
I guess good for her. Other things going on in the world. Coronavirus, Pat. Now this is not from Corona the beer. This is from like eating bats in China. What the fuck
dude.
is
I'm
going on?
I'm at high risk for that.
But I'm a little bit confused. Isn't that what it's from?
I don't know.
Like
I've
scary,
only heard of it
sketchy
lightly.
disease.
Is that what it is? I haven't really heard anything about it.
Apparently it's come from like eating bats and cats, and it started in China, and now it is. Kind of going all over the world.
Is it a deadly virus?
There's a few confirmed cases in the United States, and hopefully we all stay clear of that.
So how does one get it in the United States if you're not eating cats and bats?
That I'm not 100% sure. I don't think that it's actually come out yet to the point where this is exactly how you get it. Okay. But it is contagious. So we need to.
Okay. Well then, yeah. Then
yeah.
That's
how you get it.
Yes,
exactly. It's contagious. Yes, contact. and he started, I think, breathing on people, maybe something
Touching
like,
someone on the subway.
something like that.
inappropriately.
Yeah. On the subway. And speaking of which, so I was on the subway
You
the
were on the
other
subway?
day, of course.
Wow.
And I saw this girl who I had matched with on a dating app.
I do that all the time.
Still on dating apps.
do all the time.
Seeing
Yeah.
girls that you match with
And then-
on the subway or whatever.
And then my friends would be like, dude, what do you have, like a photograph from memory? How do you like notice these girls? How do you remember? I'm like, I don't know. I just like, I don't know. You did it, right?
Yeah,
it's not that hard.
I did it, but also this particular girl who I saw on the subway from the dating app, her job description was a senior associate.
Ooh.
So I was a little intimidated, but also I was like, "What the hell is a senior associate? How many years do you have to be at a
It's not that
job
long.
before you
at these like
a
new startup
senior?
companies? It's like 2 years, and you
Or
become a
maybe it's
senior.
like like you're in college, like year 4, you're a senior. You think they go like by the same
No, it's
things in
definitely not the
jobs?
same,
It's like,
like,
I'm year
classmanship.
4. I'm a senior associate. But,
They should do that. They should do freshman
that was
associate,
a little bit,
sophomore associate,
Yeah, that was a little bizarre.
post-grad associate.
I was
You say
a
hi to
little
her
bit,
or
no,
no?
I didn't. And when I had seen her in person, I think that was it. That was the last time I was going to see her. I was walking on the street also the other day.
Nice.
And bro, I think that we need to get this figured out as a society. As I've said before, there's a number of things that's wrong with our health department, food, medical, whatever it is. But the fact that they are selling 4 2-liter orange sodas, Sunkist orange sodas for $5 right next to the projects is very concerning.
Well, yeah, it's always been.
Dude,
You
that's
can go.
That's awful.
You can go buy a bag of chips and like a soda for way less than you can buy like some carrots and water. It's
but
crazy.
I mean, I think it's just a situation where we need to really nail something down. And there's an alcohol tax, there's a tobacco tax. There's got to be a sugar tax,
I thought
man.
there was
this
a
thing is
soda. Well,
killing people.
They banned like a certain
what
sodas, right?
was that?
The large you
Was
can't-
that
they can't sell
Bloomberg or something?
No, I think it was. Maybe it was. Was it Bloomberg?
I think Bloomberg was banning
it
like
was Bloomberg.
selling sodas or something, but
It was like,
how
you
are
can't
they
buy a
still
big
selling?
gulp at
Right, but
7-Eleven.
but I just don't understand how they're selling 4 2-liter Sunkist for $5.
Yeah,
It's just like, you're just targeting people who can't afford anything else, and then these kids are getting infections in their mouth from just drinking orange soda all day.
Yeah.
It's not good, man. We need a sugar tax on that. In some, I guess, what is this? Sad news, man. This past, what was it? This past Tuesday?
Sunday.
Excuse
Oh,
me.
Tuesday?
No.
Oh, I thought
Excuse
you were
me.
talking about
Today.
something else.
Sorry. Today is Tuesday. This past Sunday, Kobe Bryant
yeah.
passed away, which is just like a crazy situation. Obviously shed a few tears. Kobe Bryant, man, died in a helicopter accident with a number of other people and his daughter's 13-year-old daughter, who actually wanted to go to UConn. Did you see UConn did like a little tribute to her? Pat and I went to UConn, and we spent a good amount of time cheering on the women's basketball team. They won the national championships when we were freshmen, sophomores, and seniors at school. So they're an insane program. And just to reflect on Kobe Bryant a little bit, man, I'm not sure how much like he meant to you, but just every time, I would think about basketball from the ages of probably 8 to 18. I think I would think about Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
He was definitely a star in the league, and whether he was better than Jordan, better than LeBron or not, I just think that him being around in the basketball conversation, and him being around in life around basketball or whatever it is, he just had such a big presence, and like just like think about the fact that he's not around anymore.
Yeah.
And like the fact that you and I have never even met him, bro.
That's the biggest thing that everyone's like.
That was honestly for me. I don't know why, but like I just
Everyone
felt
was
like
saying that.
I just feel so weird that like I didn't get to meet him.
Everyone was
You know?
talking
That's
about
just
like
such a weird thing.
this is the first time. And well, I mean, I'm a huge basketball is my favorite sport. I grew up watching basketball, and he was like our generation's Michael Jordan for sure. A lot of people were saying, like, all my friends were saying, like, I don't even know this guy, but like everyone was saying, like, I don't know him, but I feel like I know him. Like, this is for me at least.
I think that's it.
At least for like for a celebrity death, or maybe even a death in general, I don't think a death has like ever affected me this much. Like I seriously,
I agree.
Sunday, dude, I just sat there and like refreshed Twitter and Instagram and was like tearing up after every post. And I think it's like someone like that who's supposed to be like larger than life, you think is like supposed to be invincible. And a lot of people are saying that. Like people are like, I think it might have been Jay Williams is like, I was just expecting him to like somehow jump out of the helicopter and like land on his feet. Cause like these people who are like larger than life, you think that they're going to like live forever. And then it's not so much people miss Kobe Bryant. It's like he was like an idea of like something. He was an idea of like hard work and like something that's almost unachievable and like unhuman. And then when you see someone like die in like a freak accident so tragically at 41 years old, you're like, oh shit. It like really hits you hard.
And it was just like all the stories. Like I don't know how many times, like how many articles I needed to actually see before it like hit me. Like I had thought it was a hoax for at least like 30 to 40 minutes. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I saw the first article on like ABC LA, and then I saw the second article on like at NBC LA, and then TMZ came along, and then it's just like all the articles just started pouring on. It's just like such a crazy concept. Like in the past 10 years, I really can't think of anyone that I really have looked up to, or anyone that has just been like had that big of a presence on life. You know what I mean? Well,
like,
I mean,
like the best shocking one was like
since I've been like aware of it.
I think like I hate comparing like deaths and stuff, but like I feel like JFK or like maybe Michael Jackson. I think
Michael, more so than Michael Jackson.
Yeah, more so because just like that brought everyone together and everyone was like really affected by it. Yeah, it was very weird, and it's kind of to me it was kind of it's a shame that like we have to wait until people are like saying let's change the NBA logo to like Kobe. It's like it's a shame that like someone has to die to like really appreciate them.
Right.
But well, I mean,
but in a situation like that, like I think that, you know, people say like appreciate people when they're here. I do think that we really did appreciate Kobe while he was here.
Yeah.
And in a circumstance like changing the NBA logo, you know, that wasn't really something that we could do when Kobe was here.
Yeah.
But I think that this is also a little bit touchy-feely. You know, when we think about this, you know, this rape case that Kobe Bryant had a number of years ago when he was 23 years old.
Yeah.
You know, he was never actually fully convicted of the rape. He did admit to having sexual intercourse with this maid at this Colorado hotel. Yeah. Now, you know, obviously, you know, the only people who will ever know what actually did happen in that hotel room is Kobe Bryant and the maid.
It's hard to pass judgment on it because, like, I don't know a lot about it. All I do know is that it never went to trial.
Right.
She refused to testify, so the prosecutors dropped the case. So we don't know.
Right. I mean, we don't know anything about that, but I think that it I don't want to say it puts a damper on anything because in my mind, I don't believe it does.
Yeah.
But I can see where this could maybe put a damper on, you know, some people
giving like
him
fringe groups.
Right, but people really giving him the full love and respect he deserves from just being a father, being a leader, being a hard worker, and just being like a guy who represented an entire city.
Oh, for sure, dude. I think, I mean, most people, I think, from what I've heard in these past 2 days, everyone has said, like, what an amazing guy he is, like, what a family man he was, how much he loved his daughters, how much he loved his wife,
right?
How much he was doing for women's basketball. And,
right,
like,
absolutely.
Just starting, like, everyone was saying, like, his chapter, like, his
you know what,
real
women's sports, too.
Women's sports in general,
Yeah, like women's soccer, I know he's a big advocate for, too.
So it's just, I mean, when someone like that dies, who's just like I said, you'd think someone like that is invincible. It's just like a larger than life character.
Yeah, I was just going to say, bro.
41 years old. 41 years old, super young. We were just talking about him the night before when LeBron broke his scoring record, and then for him to like
he tweeted at LeBron too.
Oh yeah, he was DMing Sharif O'Neal like that morning.
I saw that,
like just asking him
an hour before.
Yeah, Sharif O'Neal was
his flight. He said, "You good?" to Sharif.
Yeah,
O'Neal.
You good? He was
this
like
Shaquille O'Neal's son.
Yeah,
by the way.
Correct. And just like you see, like Sharif was posting pictures of his DMs. Kobe would just like check in on him like every month, be like, "Hey, what's up? How you doing?" Like how he had heart surgery. Sharif, he was like checking him on that. So I don't know, man. It's just it's really sad. And from what I've heard, it's like a total freak accident. Like the plane didn't even malfunction or anything, or the helicopter. It was just really foggy, and like the pilot just got
apparently just
disoriented and just
misguided
hit the mountain.
Yeah. But just like a crazy death, dude. Like he was so young. It's not like that maybe, you know, one of these older NBA guys, you know, got in a car crash, wasn't paying attention, and there was no foul play expected. And then the fact that he was like with his 13-year-old daughter, it's like, ugh.
Yeah.
Must be insanely hard for his wife, Vanessa, and then, you know, the remaining children. Whew. But definitely something I have not gotten used to, and just from talking to you, it seems like you haven't gotten used to it either. To go to another unfortunate situation, the rapper Kodak Black. You're familiar with this rapper. He had a ton of legal trouble. He's actually serving a prison sentence until the summer of 2022, but he just got transferred to a prison in Kentucky, and he was complaining a lot about being mistreated, being drugged in prison, not being fed. And as he was just transported to Louisville, Kentucky, his mother was on TV freaking out, crying, and saying that she doesn't want her son to die, because if her son dies, she will die as well. A lot of injustice, in the prison system, of course. But unfortunate that Kodak Black is having to deal with the situation, and seems like he's not going to be out of jail for another 2.5 years. So hopefully he gets his head right and gets everything back on track, because that is a young, talented man right there, dude. Oh, so sorry about that. Those downer subjects for a little bit, guys. But we did have to talk about that. We had Remy Kazmir on the podcast last week, and we were just talking about a whole lot of sexual stuff. Pat, do you have anything fun that you remember from last week that Remy was talking about, or what?
The whole thing was fun.
You know what I mean? I think just in general, Remy teaching us a lot about the female anatomy that you and I just didn't. No.
Speak for yourself, man.
Oh,
I
sorry.
I bring it every
Pat,
time.
you bring it, bro. It's already been brought in. All right, so this is one of my favorite segments of the show, Pat. But every minute every minute on the show I get to speak with you, man, is one of my favorite minutes. But this is the exciting segment where we talk about something that maybe somebody did something, or maybe somebody you didn't know did something. And the segment is called
Don't do that.
So if something is annoying you, or just grinding your gears, let us know. We'd love to put your don't do that on this episode, but I got a don't do that for you, Pat. We were talking about online dating earlier, as we have a bunch on this show, the Ted Jones World podcast here. So I was talking to this girl for a little bit, yada, 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 and it got to the point where we exchanged telephone numbers, which is a big deal on the dating app. So whatever, we were talking, yada, yada, yada. We were going to maybe meet up on Saturday night, and then we ended up texting, and then she ended up not hitting me back on Saturday night. So the next day comes, and she texts me. She goes, "Oops, sorry, I passed out. LOL, I was high as balls."
Oh, she was high as balls? That's what she said to you?
Yeah, she said I was high as balls.
Big weed.
I was like, what? It's like, whatever. It's fine if you were smoking weed and you were high, but like, who describes their state like that, bro? I was high as balls.
Yeah, she was trying to impress you. But
she was. I honestly, I was not impressed.
Yeah.
Not a good state.
So is that your don't do that?
Yeah, don't say you're high as balls.
Yeah, think of something a little more like,
classy. I was high as hell.
I was smoking a sativa, and the head high was just too much for me, and I fell into a deep sleep, and I apologize.
The sativa indica blend just really got me in my couch. I was like, is that how that works, lady?
Yeah.
All right, well, that was terrific. Pat, do you have a don't do that?
I was walking down the street like yesterday.
Oh, so you do. Go ahead.
I don't know. I guess. It wasn't yesterday. It was like last week, and I was walking to like Duane Reade or something, and I was looking down, and these two birds, these very small birds, flew by my feet. Very low.
Wait, what do you mean it flew by your feet? Like,
they flew across the sidewalk. So like in front of me. They crossed my path.
Okay.
By my feet. And I looked at them, and I saw them out of the corner of my eye, and I looked, and there was a woman walking towards me next to me, and I can tell that she didn't see them, but she saw me look at them, and at the last second she saw them, and she screamed so loud, because I'm guessing she thought they were rats, that everyone like stopped and asked her if she was okay.
Like rats with wings.
Yeah, well, I thought they were rats at first too, or like mice or something, because they were so fast and so low. Yeah. So she screamed like at the top of her lungs, like this woman like just had a heart attack or saw a ghost or something, and everyone stopped and asked her if she was okay. And it's like, I'm hoping she was a tourist, because
like, lady, you live in New York.
If you're living in New York and you see two like rats run by and you scream at the top of your lungs, I think you're in the wrong city.
Yeah, you're a noob. But also, what's it called? What was I just gonna say about that?
what were you
I
saying?
feel like birds, just in general, are very good at not hitting people in the city.
Oh, they're so good.
From what I've seen, like those little birds, I don't know what they're called. They're like not mini pigeons, but like
Whatever.
they're brown
Yeah,
and they just
min
literally,
pidge.
like fly by my head on multiple
They
occasions.
look
They've
like
never
I've
hit
blocked. I've like ducked because
For-
you think
dude,
they're gonna hit you and you
I
duck.
literally have to.
You
but
look like an idiot.
Yeah,
Like, they're not gonna hit you,
But
but-
you can't scream. You just
Yeah,
gotta duck.
no,
Get
yeah.
out of the way.
Yeah.
So next week, are you excited for this episode we got going on next week, Pat?
No.
You're not. Okay.
Yes, of course I am.
Well, I am looking forward to it. So we have people you've probably never heard of, Danny Palmer and Zach
you've heard of them.
McGovern, coming on the podcast. They run the famous podcast called Space. What the F, dude? The F stands for the F word, so I'm not going to say it right now. But when they come on the episode, I'm sure they'll give you a lot of expletives that you'll hear and you'll appreciate.
about
But
space.
anyways, these two guys are coming on next week, and we're excited. So we'll be talking about space with them, and we'll just get to the bottom of what's really going on out there outside of our universe, Pat.
Yeah, the great unknown.
Yeah.
You believe in aliens?
So that's
we can save
Danny
this
Palmer
conversation for next
and
week.
Zach McGovern. I think I do.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think I do. I'm weirded out by Area 51.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, this will snowball into next episode. You know, we'll definitely talk about Area 51 for sure.
Yeah.
Just because it's like such a mystery.
Yeah.
Do you have any idea what's going on there, Pat?
Well, have you seen that? Well, I want to start talking about it now. But
No.
that
Let's give him a little.
You know Bob Lazar? Do you ever see? He was on Joe Rogan, and then there was
with
that
the guy
documentary.
with the glasses.
Yes.
I did
Who
see that
worked at
documentary.
S40?
Was that on Netflix?
Or was it S40? Whatever.
I saw the documentary
Yeah,
a
on
couple,
Netflix.
couple months ago, and that's a smart ass dude.
The guy-
and he was
well,
he was talking about
I don't
how the sphere of the UFOs apparently wouldn't be able to spin in the orbit that we have because of the gravity, right?
Well, so he was
some
saying
of
that
his,
it manipulates their spacecrafts manipulate gravity, so that's why they don't use gas because they manipulate gravity, so they don't need they're not combustion vehicles.
You mean the aliens UFO,
The spaceship that he claimed to be working on,
right?
So,
They were just able to hover and not use gravity.
Well, so no, it didn't use gas. It didn't use any combustion. So basically, it cleared the gravity in front of them, so it could move freely forward. Because there was no gravity pushing them back the other way. I don't know. You have to watch it to get into it. But he claims to have reverse engineered these alien spacecrafts that the government found, which I don't know. You got to see it for yourself and judge. Which he seemed a little nutty. But
do you remember what this was called? I'm sorry. What was the guy's name?
Bob Lazar.
I'm gonna actually look this up for our listeners and viewers.
I mean,
here,
I'm sure they've talked about it on their podcast.
and
But
I'm sure these guys actually have.
I'd love to hear what they say.
Yeah.
About it.
So the Joe Rogan Experience. He is number 1315. If you want to listen into that, but also on Netflix, it's just basically called Area 51 and Flying Saucers. So I saw that a few months ago, and that was nuts. Just just a crazy amount of shit that this guy was working on in Area 51.
Yeah.
So this guy is fully convinced that there is life outside of Earth, and I'm convinced too, man. Are you?
There's definitely life. Yeah. There's infinite galaxies, so there has to be.
It's nuts. Well, especially I've heard every time you look at the sky, all those stars are another planet or another solar system, some shit like that. I don't know. You know what? We're gonna learn a lot more next week when we get Zach McGovern and Danny Palmer on here. Two comedians, but also hopefully two intelligent guys.
Two hot, young,
have,
up-and-coming comics.
A podcast on space, so they should know a good amount. But I've also heard some of their episodes, and a lot of them they have a lot of bad language. So Pat, we're gonna have to tell them to keep it PG-13/R next week. You know what I'm saying? Because everyone
You don't like it. You like it
a good, clean
kid-friendly.
mouth. Well, not kid friendly, but I don't want kids going around screaming the F word oh, Mom, Dad, we just listened to Ted Jones World Podcast, and Pat and Ted were saying the F word, S word, saying the C word. What's the C word? Crap. I don't want anything dramatic like that over there.
We do not want that.
Pat, so do you like my glasses and you like my beard this week? Sorry, I was a little bit lazy, right?
Sure,
Just glasses,
yeah.
beard.
Glasses look good.
Why don't you take a shower? That I did. Pat, just want to wrap up this week with giving you kind of I don't want to say an inspirational Kobe Bryant kind of quote, but I think it's just something, to think about just in general, like the way that he approached life. Play life. Don't let life play you. I'm not sure if he directly has ever said that, but I think it's just a matter of
Sounds like something he would say.
Right,
so we'll go with that.
right. I think just like attacking life in general and living life to the fullest every day. And I don't know if you heard his reasoning behind buying that chopper, that helicopter in general.
I did.
But yeah, it was just so he could spend more time with his family. He realized that between all the training that he did in downtown Los Angeles and then going home was just really taking too much time to travel via car. All over LA, because as we all know, LA is insanely bad traffic. So he was fortunate enough and blessed enough to be able to afford a helicopter. And unfortunately, this helicopter that he bought was actually made in 1991. It's had a number of renovations done to it, but unfortunately, crashed on Sunday with Kobe Bryant, his 13-year-old daughter, and a number of other people on the helicopter. So rest in peace to all of them. And this was episode 22 of the Ted Jones World Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. If you guys have any questions, please hit us up, tedjonesworld@gmail.com, Ted Jones World on Instagram. And we will see you and next week. Thanks so much, guys.
Peace.